Broad Street.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and sports fans of all ages, from 0 to 1,000. I don't know who's 1,000 years old, Jay, but there's got to be some people out there. Welcome to the 4 for 4 podcast. It is here. It is Tuesday. It is 9 o'clock. It is Eastern Standard Time. It is time for us to talk a little Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers. Now, we're going to be talking a lot about the Eagles during the fall, so pretty much we're going to do a lot of Eagles talk, a lot of NFL talk. And as I mentioned last week, if you are a Bills fan, if you're a Broncos fan, a Saints, whoever, give us a shout, man. We want to hear from you because we're going to talk about all the teams in the NFL, but especially the Eagles. So give us a shout. But we are the 4 for 4 podcast. We're here on the Broad Street Misery Network on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, your sister's rear end, all that good stuff. Hey, I am Corey Alexander, and along with me as always is
J-Bliss.
All right. Hold on one second. All right. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about, Jay. We are into the December month now of the NFL, Jay, and this is where money is made. This is big time, man. This is huge. So what we're going to do, Jay, is we're going to get into that a little bit because I want to get some thoughts, man, on who is really going to be showing up. We've already had 2 snow glow games, right? We had the Pittsburgh and Browns, and we had the Buffalo and Niners.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Niners were ill prepared to be a part of that snowstorm.
All right, I'm going to log out and log back in, man. I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. All right, so Jay's a little frozen there. I think he's got a little bit of Buffalo in him. But let me take care of some quick stuff for you. We always got to do the transaction stuff. So let me get this. So Ben Van Ness. Let's just call him Ben Van Ness. Suffered a season-ending knee injury in a practice. This is what I hate, man. Talking about practice. Why are we practicing when people are getting hurt? But he had a season-ending injury. I don't think it was an ACL. They just didn't get into it. I don't know what it was, but it was something in his knee, some sort of tear. So he is going to be out, which sucks because he was not only a backup linebacker who was pretty good, but also was their fullback, which I'm getting to in just a minute. The Eagles also released Paris Campbell. He just played on Sunday, but they released him because I'm sure they're bringing in somebody else for game day. I think they're going to possibly sign a tight end to the active thing because now that Goddard is out for about 3 games. So I'm getting into the updates. Ben Van Zumeren out for the year. It sucks. We released Paris Campbell. I believe we're releasing Paris Campbell because we're signing a tight end, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing because now that Goddard's out for 2 or 3 weeks, another update that Goddard's out for a minimum of 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
We got to draft a tight end, man.
We got to move on, man. I love him, and I think he's still going to be around a year or 2.
Yep.
Ooh, what was that? We missed it. No something. There's a comment out there. No sound again. Oh, you can't hear us?
Wow. We just got
all right. That's producer time. There is sound.
There is sound. I don't know, Lloyd. I don't know why you can't hear us.
Maybe unmute. All right. So apparently we are good. Howdy.
Okay.
Hey, there's Steve-O.
All right.
All right. So the Eagles have signed a fullback, which is hard to believe. Kari Blazin game.
Is that the fullback?
Why gotta give me a hard name? Why can't it be Corey Alexander? Let's make this games easier, Jay. Kill him. I can't hear you guys. Okay, Lloyd.
Lloyd, I don't know. That might be user error.
You gotta take the earplugs out of your ears, man. He was the Titans, Bears, Vikings. He's on a couple different teams. He'll go to the practice squad. They released your boy, John Ross, man, to make that happen, man. You sad?
No. Not at all.
All right, so he's not sad. So there's your updates for about everything. I do believe they're going to probably elevate either E.J. Jenkins or Uzomah, but they're both out of their 3 elevations, which is crazy. I don't remember E.J. Jenkins being elevated 3 times, but I guess he was.
Right.
But if they're going to sign, they have to sign somebody. That's why they released Paris Campbell. So there you go. Interesting to see with this fullback. I'm sure he's going to need a couple of weeks to kind of get up on his stuff, but Maybe use him at the end of the season. If he works out well, then you just sign him for the playoff run. But they've been doing well with the fullback stuff.
Yeah, they haven't used it as much as like we've used to seeing. But when they've used it, they do get yards. I'll put it that way. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know what's better. And typically it's when Jalen's under center. So it's almost like they kind of know what's coming.
Okay.
I haven't seen them change much. I did see Jalen drop back 2 times in the Ravens game under center and turned his back to the defense and turned around and fired 2 passes. One was completion. No, both of them were completed.
Okay.
But it was weird, though, because I was like, why is your back to the defense? And he just turned around and flung it. I'm like, all right, well, it's open. You know what I mean?
We was trying to make sure everybody saw the number 1.
Yeah, right.
All right, so here's some interesting thing. Can you name the last 2 official fullbacks for the Philadelphia Eagles?
John Ritchie.
That is incorrect. That was before these 2.
Before these 2.
You had a couple of good ones. You had, what was it? I just remembered his name, and I just forgot it. Guy out of Wisconsin was great.
Yeah?
Yeah, there was some good ones in there. So there's the first trivia question. If you can't get it, so who are the last 2 fullbacks to be officially part of the roster for the Philadelphia Eagles? Mm-hmm. Second trivia, we're doing this early tonight. Second trivia question. We got Reed Blankenship and a couple other guys, really strong undrafted free agents that really might turn into something here on the Eagles, maybe Pro Bowlers. Can you name the last 2 homegrown undrafted position players who have made a Pro Bowl for the Eagles since 1955?
Undrafted, homegrown free agents.
Signed by the Eagles, played for the Eagles, might have played somewhere else, but they were our guys.
Undrafted.
Think about that. So there's your 2 quiz questions. Now, again, with the trivia, everybody, get your answers in ASAP because we've got merchandise. We've got hoodies. We've got T-shirts, which by the way, I'm going to be wearing next time I'm on the air. I got mugs. I got glasses. We got all kinds of great merch here from Broad Street Misery as well as 4 for 4. So get your answers in. Whoever's in first and you're a part of all of our social media, you will get an answer. You will get a gift from Jay and I. Jay might throw you a kiss too. I don't know. That's up to Jay. All right, let's get into some other stuff real fast. Last week, Saquon Barkley was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week again for the Rams game. That's the 4th time this season. Saquon is the first Eagles player ever to win that award that many times in the season. So, wow. So, congrats to him. By the way, Saquon also joins Pro Football Hall of Famers Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, and LaDainian Tomlinson's the only running backs ever to earn Offensive Player of the Week 4 times in the season. That is amazing.
Well, he'll get it again before the end of the season.
He might.
Yeah.
He might break the all-time record. By the way, like Barry Sanders, how did not we get every week? I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
Saquon Barkley played 87 games for the Giants. He's played 11 games for the Eagles. He has 145 or more rushing yards 5 times with the Giants. He has 145 yards or more rushing 5 times with the Eagles. In 70 less games.
One
Crazy
offensive line away from being the greatest of all time. Literally. If he had been with the Eagles from his inception, he will already probably be the greatest.
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy. Doing things that he couldn't even do in 5 years with the Giants.
Right.
Blankenship, that's I was talking about Blankenship. That's why he might have a chance at the maybe getting a little Pro Bowl action. But he's got a 49.3 defensive passer rating, 3rd lowest amongst 54 safeties. He's been targeted at least 20 times. Mm-hmm. He's up there with Kirby Joseph-Lyons, who's absolutely phenomenal, and Xavier McKinney, who's having a fantastic year. Right. He's one of only 3 safeties who hasn't allowed a touchdown and has 3 or more interceptions. I believe the touchdown against the tight end Mark Andrews might have been on Blankenship, but I'm not 100% sure. So he might have allowed one as of this week. Mm-hmm. This is all last week. But Blankenship's 43.9 would be the lowest in Eagles defensive back ever over a full season. Pro Football Focus has Blankenship ranked somebody of 89 safeties who played at least 200 snaps. His 78.9 grade is 8th highest. So good for Blankenship. Having a great year.
Yeah.
By the way, Gainwell is one of only 3 NFL running backs who have rushed for at least 200 yards with an average of 4.3 or better in each of the last 4 years. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Only one of 3 running backs in the past That's amazing.
People are valuing that position.
Exactly. And that's a bad valuable position to have a running back like him backing up Saquon.
Well, it's hard to imagine a running league when you had a game like last night.
Yeah.
Insane.
That's very true.
Right.
I love me some Jameson Winston, man. That guy. That's why I love him, because he's going to throw 10 touchdowns and he's going to throw 10 picks, man.
Right.
I love that dude. Eagles have started 9-2 or better 6 times in franchise first 89 years. They started the last 3 seasons 10-1, 10-1, and 10-2. This is amazing that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Rodgers' defensive pass interference against the Rams, that was the first of his career. Is that crazy? And it was bullshit, by the way.
And it wasn't a good pass. It wasn't a good call, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a good call, but that was the first of his career. That's amazing. I love having Rodgers back there. So let's get to the game real fast. By the way, they asked Vic Fangio today. They said, did you see this?
No.
So they asked Vic Fangio today. They said, the defense is really playing well. They seem to be coming together, and then they ask about certain players, and they said, what do you see from Jalen Carter? And he said, well, Jalen Carter's his technique's better. He's practicing better. And he said, despite what Allen Iverson said, practice does make you better.
Right. Yeah.
The more you practice, the more you play, the better you get, in spite of what Allen Iverson said. I love that, man. That was hilarious.
And he said, that's funny.
So let's get to the game notes.
Yeah.
By the way, Dallas Goedert, again, as I mentioned, he's going to be out a couple of weeks, but it looks like it's just a sprain. Speaking of Blankenship, let's hope that his concussion isn't serious. He looked like he was fine. He didn't wobble. He wasn't down on the ground. I have a feeling he could come back this week. They're probably not going to rush him, but I believe he could come back if everything works out pretty well.
Right.
It didn't seem to be that serious. Eagles are getting 10-2 or better for the 3rd straight season, first time in franchise history. Eagles defense, by the way, during this 8-game winning streak is holding teams to 15 points per game. They have held 8 straight opponents to under 225 yards passing for the first time in 27 years, Jay.
Wow.
Insane. Eagles are also giving up the fewest yards per game this year at 282.8. By the way, according to overthecap.com, this is interesting. The Eagles ranked 28th in positional spending on defense this season. 28th.
Yeah, because we had the youngest defense.
Right. We're not paying nobody nothing.
Right.
Oh,
right.
And here's the best part, Jay. You ready for this? This was to me was incredulous. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
The best part of this whole thing. Even more staggering than that we are like a couple away from being the lowest spending on defense with the number 1 defense in the NFL. Against Baltimore, we didn't have our 3 highest players out there.
Right.
You know who they are?
Right. Highest paid defensive players?
Yeah, on our team. Or weren't even out there. Do you know who they are?
Darius Slay.
Correct.
Who else wasn't out there? Oh, Brandon Graham. No, Brandon Graham would be. No, he's on the $5 million. He's on like a almost on the defense. I don't. Well, do you count Blankenship? Because Blankenship wasn't. He's not getting paid a lot.
No. He's a free agent signing. So who did we just sign this year?
Oh, Huff. Golly.
How'd you forget that? So
because he's forgettable, dude. Like he's literally forgettable, man.
So we didn't have Darius Slay, Brian Huff. Now here's the one you will never get. Who's the 3rd highest player who wasn't out there?
3rd highest player for us?
I give you a hint. He ain't played this year.
I don't know.
James Bradbury. Did you forget that he's out there?
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're paying him $14 million to not play.
Listen, man, we are in such good shape.
It's amazing.
Like literally, like Huff got he robbed a check from us. but just think about what position we will be in, because Howie's got to sign somebody early.
Yes.
Like he's got to start getting people in the fold and start getting them
before the playoffs, man. Before these guys get to free agency, man, it's going to be nuts.
Right. It's going to be good.
So of 11 defensive starters against Baltimore, by the way, so all those guys were out. 6 of them are on rookie contracts. Zach Bond and Isaiah Rodgers are on a 1-year low-cost deal, prove-it deals.
Well, I think Bond proved a lot.
Oh, he definitely has. And I think Rodgers is a guy you have to sign. I'd like to stick with Rodgers and Keely Ringo because I like Keely, but I'm not totally sold on him. I like Rodgers.
Yeah,
man.
So you dump off Slay's contract, you dump off Bradbury's.
Yep. You can afford Rodgers, you can afford Bond, you can afford all those guys.
Yeah. And then you find a way to get rid of Huff.
I don't know if he can do that because I think he's still got guaranteed money. I don't think the third year's got no guarantee, but yes, next year does have guarantee.
We got to find something out. We got to do something.
Rodgers are going to be replacing Slay, hopefully, and Nolan Smith is going to be filling in for Brandon Graham. So now they're down. They're down without Brandon Graham. They're down to 24.4 average age. Crazy times. Nice. During this game, Milton Williams. Remember, I told you it was like a little bit disappointing because Alim McNeil, Detroit has been crushing it. Just got $95 million from them, and Williams has been he's been good, but not third round. Alim, McNeil good.
Right.
But he did have a team high 5 pressures on 26 pass rushes. And because that happened, we had to look at now Jalen Carter as now the guy being like a Reggie White, where if I'm getting doubled, y'all better get up in there and get in their face.
Did you see him lined up on the outside a couple times?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny bringing it up. I just saw a tape where I'm like, is that Milton Williams? Oh my God. Yeah. He was on the right defensive end.
When they also had Jalen Carter lined up on the outside as well a couple times.
That I didn't see, but
so it was in the second quarter, I believe, second or third quarter. And I was like, is that Jalen Carter? And I said, they're tripping because I was like, is he lined up outside? So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that.
All right. So, the next year, so they Carter also impacted, he logged 3 tackles for losses, 2 quarterback hits, and a sack. And man, he's unbelievable. And you and I talked about this. They're holding him like crazy. If they don't submit this to the league, you got to start calling holding on this guy.
We will see at least 2 calls in the Carolina game. I guarantee you.
I think so too. I think that, yeah. Here's some interesting notes about the game before we get deep into this game. Some people have asked me, they were 10-1 or 10-2 last year. What's the difference? You know what the difference is? Did you see the isolation of the sideline on Cooper's hit?
Oh, yeah.
So when Cooper, for all these out there who didn't see this, so Cooper hits Henry, he starts doing this, but there was guys on the sideline that were going, literally going crazy and doing this before even Cooper did it. So they're showing you this entire defense is not only together, but they are backing each other up huge, that anytime there's a play, Jay, these guys are all over. Do you see that difference too?
Yeah, well, last year, nobody makes that tackle.
Right.
We're arm tackling last year. Nobody was wrapping anybody up. So everybody was going for the big hit and no wrap up. So the form tackle that he showed is basically just what you see from him and the exciting whites, if you will.
They made Adam Schefter say that today, by the way.
They are they are fundamentally.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah, how you doing, Lisa? They are fundamentally sound. They do the right way, and you got to take accountability. If they're wrapping up, Zach Bond too. Zach Bond is wrapping up. Everybody's wrapping up when they tackle now, and you also see how quick everybody gets to a tackle. Last year, man, people was on islands, man.
Dude, the gang tackling, I love it. Every time you see these guys, that was the difference. There's a play I'm going to get to, but there was a play where I forget who got there first, but there was at least 4 other guys that as he was trying to hold the guy up, the 4 guys immediately came. And if you look at the game film, nobody from Baltimore was helping that guy out. He was all by himself.
Right.
But we had all these guys. Bond had that huge tackle on 3rd down against Henry as well. Remember that?
Yeah.
To force 4th down. And then Mitchell, your boy, the defense is simply better than last year. So you said Jalen Carter has a chance to be better than. Yeah, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'll let you talk about this too, Jay. But my biggest thing, somebody asked me that also. And my thing is, first of all, you got to give the guy a couple of years. Now, does he have the potential? Absolutely. Right. He's got the same skill set that Jerome has. But you got to understand that Jerome was a different special player. Jerome, and I'll tell you 2 stories when we have another broadcast, but Jerome had a couple of stories when he was growing up, not to mention the fact he led his team. Remember that in Miami? They led the team out of dinner with Penn State.
Yeah.
He got up and left, and everybody followed him. That's the kind of leader he was. That was unprecedented leadership that he had.
Right.
So you're talking about a special guy, and he played injured. I don't know if you remember this, but he injured his shoulder against Arizona one year and then played in a sling a week later. He didn't even practice. He played in a sling with his arm like this.
Right.
the guy was just unbelievable. So, yeah, there's always different intangibles that he was never going to have like Jerome had, but could he have the same impact defensively? Absolutely.
Yeah. I believe, defensive end is something we definitely got to go look for.
Yes.
And maybe another tackle. But like I said, young defense, you just add to it and it's just going to get better and better. Then you're going to have free agents wanting to come here.
You just hit the nail on the head because that's the biggest thing is that you got to have people who want to come here, not just because you can sign them, but
listen, as much complaints as they have for Vic Fangio in Miami, it's people like, yeah, but they got a number one defense. I don't give a damn how bad he is. I'm going. Like, you know what I mean? Like think about it. Yep. So, James says tackling scheme and new players, Bond, CJ, GJ, Coop, and Quinyon, the reason for the turnaround. I would say so James, I agree with you to a point, right? But the thing that I more recognize is that the help that we have on the outside, right? The fact that you have Quinyon that has a lockdown mentality, like he can lock down their receiver, it allows everyone else to be able to do their job and not have to over pursue or do more than what's expected because you have somebody to say, I can hold this guy down for 4 seconds. 4 seconds and 5 seconds is monstrous for a defensive line. So it's basically, we'll take care of the line. You watch the quarterback linebackers. You know what I mean? And that's the other thing. They're not getting back deep enough. Like I've seen Nakobe miss a pass that he could have got if he would have literally saw that there was no run and got back faster. Like just backed up a little bit faster. And it's like, we playing zone because we had to, but I agree with you, James. I agree with that part of the turnaround, but I really believe a lot of it has to do with Quinyon.
All I'm going to do is repeat what you say, but having a guy on an island like that who can lock shit down, that's something we didn't have last year. Even with Darius Slay, we did not have.
We ain't had that forever.
So it's Roy Nell Young of the 80s.
we haven't. Asante didn't even lock people down on the island. He just was good.
He was just a guesser.
He was good enough to do the comebacks. Yeah, he was
a guesser, and he made some great plays without a doubt.
Lockdown corners we had were close enough to lockdown corners with Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd.
And you had Eric Allen.
Oh, well, I said close.
For the most recent ones,
now, But Eric Allen was a lockdown. Eric Allen was a lockdown. Then we had Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent. Those guys are great in their younger days. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's good stuff. I think the biggest thing is the tackling, and I just think these guys are. I think the biggest thing to me beyond the scheme and the tackling, James, is again like seeing those sideline, those guys going nuts for Blankenship.
Yeah.
For Bond, for this person. I mean, they're all they're not sitting on the bench chit-chatting. They're watching the game and totally into it. It's amazing. It's such a different team than last year. And it just makes you so happy. Like, oh my God, we have that team that has that chemistry.
Yep. 100%.
And there was another play too. Speaking of Mitchell, I don't know if you saw this, but there's a breakdown where he's locked in with the receiver, right? And he's looking into the backfield. He backpedals a little bit, still looks. He passes off the receiver, goes to get Mark Andrews. That's the one he clips him.
Yeah.
Dude, that is not a play a rookie makes.
Right.
That's a guy who's like a 10-year vet. That's amazing.
Right. He says, well, Quinyon and Coop be better than Shepherd and Brown. Man, hell no. Like that. No, don't get me wrong now. I love me some Quinyon right now. But I'm going to be honest. I will take you guys back to let you guys kind of realize how good Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd was. Like, if you go back and look at highlights and look at full games, I'm not talking about just highlights. Look at full games when the Eagles played. Whenever you see a pass from any team we played through the 2000 to like that 2004 range.
2004 to 2008.
I'm telling you, anytime they passed the ball, Lito and Sheldon were there. It was never somebody wide the hell, except for Joe Jaravicious when he came across the middle, and we had
and that was the linebacker. That was Levon Kirkland and Blaine Bishop.
I'm talking about on the outsides. They were there. So even when people caught touchdowns, it was over a raised hand or somebody laying on the guy. It was always that. And I mean, that was when they were blanketing those guys.
And to that point, too, when's the last time you saw a leader separate Sheldon Brown get beat for like an 80-yard bomb and they weren't even in the picture?
You never saw that. You
Nope.
never saw that. You never saw that.
That being said, though.
And they had Dawkins behind them. So, I mean, it was like.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he also had a Hall of Fame safety patrolling the back end. Yeah, that did help, right? But I think, to answer your question, James, I think they have a potential to be that good, though. I mean, I think that they can be, I don't know if they're going to be better, but they can certainly be that good.
Do you ever see Coop going to the outside, though?
I just don't think you do. I mean, here's the thing.
I don't either.
I think you keep him in the slot, not only because he plays it so well, but he's the kind of guy, too, that even if there's no slot receiver, he covers the tight end. You need a guy like him to cover a tight end like that.
Right.
Because Mark Andrews, as you saw, is a beast. He's just an absolute beast.
100%, yeah.
You don't have a linebacker on him. You have Coop on him. So, yeah.
Two of those catches was lucky as hell. I'm just going to – they was lucky.
Both those touchdowns. I mean, that's even a smidge higher. It's over his head.
Right.
Stupid son of a bitch. By the way, speaking of like watching these guys play for each other, there's a great article, if you haven't seen it out there, folks, about Becton.
Yeah.
Kai Becton, who has a love of football again. And he said because the day he walked in, Mailata, Johnson, Juergens, all those guys, Dickerson, all came up to him and be like, hey, this is how it's going to be, man. Blah, blah, blah. The first team embraced him. When he wasn't even first team, he was supposed to be a swing tackle. It wasn't until Stout was like, this guy could probably play guard. And he was like, okay, as long as I'm getting on the field, what do I care?
Right.
Amazing, amazing story. Here's something that you're not going to like. You're not going to like this. He doesn't like any of my texts, folks. I love texting him and pissing him off during a game. That's the relationship Jay and I have, by the way. Here's what you're not going to like. Ready? A full list of NFL coaches to go at least 10-2 in 3 straight seasons.
Yeah.
Curly Lambeau, John Madden, Mike Ditka, Mike Shanahan, Tony Dungy, Bill Belichick, Sean Payton, and Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, he's the rich co-tight of that list.
Dude, don't even besmirch his name with that other name. Do not dare do that. Get out of here.
It's all fun and games till something go wrong in the playoff.
That's still, and here's the thing. Now, I hope Stout and Fangio never retire. They probably won't. I mean, they'll be here forever. They'll be here as long as they want to be.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be head coaches or anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see the Eagles ever being like, this is what you got to get. Play safety in our corner. Keith Byers of defense.
The Keith Byers
of defense. That's
right now with his analogies, man. This is hilarious.
But Keith Byers couldn't run. God, I love that guy. But, man.
He just had baby feet. But, I mean, it was fast. It was just baby steps.
Once he got a full head of steam,
he was out of the way. He was out of the way, dog.
But if you got, it's like King Henry. If you could get in the backfield and kind of stop him moving his legs, it was all over because they can't. And once you get, Saquon's different. Saquon can bounce and move and juke and jive. You cannot do that with bigger backs. They got to get going.
Right.
Now you said Sirianni's not learning, but I'm telling you, man. Here's one that I think is different. Punting in the instead of going for it, they punted in the fourth instead of going for it. Yeah. Put the Ravens deep in their territory, got good field position, and took that right down for a score. I think that was the second quarter.
Right.
That's huge, man. That's learning from your mistakes.
Well, yeah, it's him understanding you have a great defense, man. Like your defense can get you the ball in a better position. You know what I mean? And that's what he had to start understanding. See, he was thinking, I have a better offense than I have a defense, and it's better for me to score now. Like, nah, man. You wait till your offense is putting up 14 points in the first quarter, and then you watch how your defense plays. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. And the other thing that's working, did you notice this? Talk to me about your views of this no-huddle offense, because they went right down the field with that no-huddle, and was it second or fourth, whatever it was, that no-huddle was amazing.
Right. I mean, I think that is Jalen going in, but mostly on those no huddles, it were all check downs and runs.
Now, yes.
They were all checks down to runs. Did you know in the second half they only threw the ball twice?
I know.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But
do you know that AJ Brown got all of his yards in the second quarter?
Yeah.
What the hell? I didn't know that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
His entire game was in one quarter.
Yeah. We scored 14 points in that quarter, though. You know what I mean? How's Davis been looking for you guys?
You want to answer that because I got tape on that.
Yeah, I listen. So it's one of the things where people look for stats. People look for big plays. They look for sacks. They look for things like that. Davis is solid. He's solid. They talked about him being a bust last year. I think a lot of it had to do with missed tackles. Our run defense wasn't as good as it is this year. It started out good, then it fell apart toward the end of the season. And I think Davis was getting a lot of blame for that. But I think he anchors that line, especially on first down. Like first down, he anchors that line. They never really get any big runs on first down when Davis is in that game. But I noticed he's in for first down, maybe second, and then he's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, James, I don't know if you can go back and watch last week, but I'll give you a couple quick things plus this game. So in last week's game, Jordan Davis, now everybody says Jordan Davis's best game was this past game, and it might have been, but the weekend before, the week against the Rams,
yeah,
it was also very good. And then the Washington was very good. What he's doing now is he's going up and he's grabbing two guys so that Jalen can get one-on-one a couple of times. And also what he's doing is he's also filling the A gap and he's stopping running backs. That was one against Washington.
Yeah.
Where they were trying to get that fourth down, and he bottled that up so that Jaden Daniels couldn't go anywhere. So he had to bounce the outside, and that's when Zach Bond got him. So he's doing a lot of little things that Jay has talked about. You can't see that in statistics. He's doing everything he needs to do as a nose tackle, to bust things up. Now, in this game, I saw one play where they actually were blocking him, and I couldn't believe this, Jay. He actually spun around out of it and tackled the guy for about a yard gain.
Yeah.
Was he doing that a year ago? No, he was not.
No.
He would give up. He was just lazy, and he gave up, and now it's like it's contagious. Like, for all the thing that we hate about CJ GJ,
yeah,
but his yelling and enthusiasm, I think, is so contagious that they've got this whole attitude now that they didn't have last year.
Yeah.
CJ, right or wrong, and his coverage is here or there, whatever you want to say, but that's contagious, man, and that makes it a better team.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I don't think he's a bust anymore. Now, is he a first-round pick? No. If he was like a third-round pick, we'd be like, this guy's great. As a first-round pick, yes, he should be doing more. Yes, you'd like to see a sack or more. Just don't see it's going to happen. So, yeah, it was probably a bust-ish as a first-round thing. But as an overall player, I think they sign him, but he's not going to sign for big bucks. But I see them signing him for like an extension, not a fifth year. I don't think they'll give him a fifth year, but they'll sign him to an extension that is reasonable for both of them.
I agree.
By the way, Jalen Hurts was 9 for his last 10, even though he threw 2 for 104 yards and 2 total touchdowns after starting 0 for 4, by the way, starting the game 0 for 4.
Yep.
Saquon is just great. Here's the biggest thing about Fangio. He is crushing in-game adjustments.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just crushing it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our third down, I'm way more confident in our third down defense. We were horrible at third down defense last year.
Woo! Oh, my God.
I mean, horrible.
And it wasn't, and real fast, it wasn't just third downs. It was like 3rd and 15, and they would get a first down. It was 3rd and long, they would get a first down.
100%. So, I mean, even now, when someone gets a third down, I'm like, oh. But then all of a sudden, like, all right, we got 4 more downs. Like, let's do it again. You know what I mean? And it's like, it kind of like motivates me to be like, all right, let's get them off the field. But like, there was a couple times in Baltimore, I'm yelling, get off the field. I'm yelling like big time because I'm like, I can't believe they stopped them. You know what I mean? And like, it just, I mean, they had Lamar rattled, man. And it was a great game plan. Like, make him beat you with his arm.
And so here's the thing. This is what bothers me. So the Commanders game, the Rams game, and the Ravens game, they all scored last-minute touchdowns in the fourth quarter, which is such bullshit.
Yeah.
And you take those away, I mean, the defense was just killing it all game. Like, all game. They might have had, like, a couple of drives, like, early on in the Commanders, early on the Rams, a little bit early on in the even the Ravens. But that's what I'm saying. He is killing it for adjustment. So Lamar Jackson, 39 of his 79 yards came on that one late run. So 40, almost half of his yards came on that one run.
Yep.
So for the large part, we held him in check. I think you and I both got frustrated. There was a sack we should have had, and he had that pass. Remember, I texted you. We had him bottled up. See how great his Fangio's been, makes he hate Gannon even more. Well, here's the thing, James. Gannon had the 3rd-ranked defense going into the playoffs.
He did, but
and we also had 70 sacks that year.
We did, but that's Super Bowl year. Like, I mean, where was it at the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, his in-game adjustments, very shaky. Very shaky.
Yeah. So,
and that's where I think we could have used Fangio because we did have him as a consultant, but I guess he wasn't allowed to do anything in-game.
yeah.
And, and we all know Gannon had already checked out because he's going to be a head coach of the Cardinals, douchebag.
Well,
but I agree with you. There was something weird about Gannon, but he still had the third-ranked defense, whatever you want to say.
Fangio here to stay, man. We good, man. We good.
Against the Eagles until the final minute, the Baltimore was averaging 420 yards. We kept him to 302 yards, 12 points, and 4.7 yards per play. That's the worst they've done all year. Now, they didn't get any takeaways in this team, but they pressured Jackson and they hit him early and often. That I think that really rattled him, Jay. Yeah. I don't think he's gotten pressured and harassed like that all season.
Right.
They kept Derrick Henry in check. He still got close to 90 yards and stuff, and he had a pretty decent average, like a 4 or 5, maybe average or something like that. But it wasn't like he was crushing us. And there's the major thing: no big long runs.
Right.
By the way, Tristan McCollum, your boy, referring to that hiring process with Arizona. Yeah. I mentioned at the end where he was checked out. And what cost us, you're right, it cost us Fangio because Fangio said, I'll come work with you, but we couldn't announce anything and we didn't know anything because he wasn't supposed to know anything until after the season.
Right.
And Miami said a week before, well, we want to hire you now. And he's like, well, I'd rather have something than nothing because if Gannon stayed for some crazy reason, I don't want to be out of a job.
Yeah.
So I can't blame him for that. So Tristan McCollum, man, we're going to get him some sticky gloves for Christmas, right?
No, because he shouldn't have caught that ball. Like, that was 4th down. He did the right thing by dropping it. Because it was a turnover on downs. If he'd have caught it, it would have been a punt. So it's like, yeah, drop that because we got the ball up there.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But I want that turnover. I want that turnover, baby.
I hear you.
But that was pretty great. I mean, Tristan, and that's the other thing too, Jay, you didn't have that last year. Guys come in immediately making plays.
No, you're
like they didn't skip a beat.
That's one of my 4 points. So I'm gonna wait for that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, after the Bucs game, they're now they're 24-11 under Nick Sirianni on the road, and 22-9 since the middle of 2021.
Okay.
And the Bucs game, you know what that thing? Remember how we talked about the Bucs game? Like they were undisciplined, unfocused, uncaring, unenthusiastic.
Right.
I mean, it was everything wrong you wanted in a team in that Bucs game.
Right.
Now, when was the last time you could say they were unfocused? They weren't prepared. They weren't ready. They didn't look good. They didn't look fired up. Probably the Bucs game.
Yeah, in the first quarter of every game. But other than that, man, you can't complain.
Well, that's just our MO now. I mean, that's what we got to do.
Listen, you might as well turn the game on in the second quarter. Like, hey, with the second quarter about to start. All right, man, let's go watch this Eagles game, man.
But it doesn't look like they're unfocused. I mean, they're focused. They're just not getting it done for whatever reason.
I'm wondering why they don't do no huddle in the first quarter.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm going to get to my Sidney Brown moment with the Braden Mann and a few things too. But we didn't really. I think the only thing that's troubling, if we're going to talk about this game real fast and wrap this up, and then we'll get to our 4 points. They're 31st ranked pass defense, Jay.
Yeah, man. Last year.
No. Baltimore this year. We
didn't throw the ball. But so here's the thing.
Go ahead. Hit me.
I knew you was going to bring that up. Right?
I'm frustrated.
But here's the thing. It was the number 1 ranked run defense, right?
Right.
And we showed them, hey, y'all what now? Like, so it was like line up, mano a mano. Let's see what's good, right? Now, you're right. Had we had Devontae and our full weaponry of wide receivers, I think Jalen does have a big game receiving. I think they can't focus on too many things, right? But I like the fact that we attacked them at their strength to show them we just gonna out physical you.
So this is where we had our dispute. And by the way, yeah, fly. If we can get 3 turnovers this week, that'd be great. If we can get the Panthers out of their game by the third quarter and rest some people, that'd be even better. That's what I'd love to see.
Yeah, right.
We shall see. But this is where I'm talking. My point is, I like, for the record, I like Jalen. I like Jalen, and I'm rooting for the guy every day. But it's frustrating because this is the game where I needed him to be like, let me elevate this team without Smith. It's a 31st ranked defense. This secondary can be shredded. No deep throws, no tough passes, a lot of dink and dunks. There was just nothing where it's like, okay, Yeah, right. We just bulldozed them on the run game. We showed our strength, but that is something where it's like in the playoffs, if you got a 31st ranked defense, you better attack it, because who knows if Saquon's going to be able to do that stuff. They might just put 8 in the box. Maybe we don't do it for the first couple of quarters. We may not have a whole game where we can come back in the third and fourth quarter. They might be scoring points on us. Who knows?
But here's the thing, and this is the part that makes sense to me.
Go ahead.
So first quarter was trash. We didn't do anything. They were up 9-0. Right? They were up 9-0. We go in the second quarter. We do 2 drives, scored 2 drives. No big long passes, just 2 solid drives. We up 14-9, right? We go in, they keep missing the field goals or whatever. Third quarter, after the break, we only get on the field once. And it was a 3-and-out.
Yeah,
they had 2 long drives for the whole third quarter. They had 2 long drives that ended on 2 missed field goals in the third quarter. We only had the ball 1 time in the third quarter. So when we get to the fourth quarter, it's game time. Run the ball, run the clock, and once we scored, that game was over. Forget passing the ball down the field. It's clock management in the fourth quarter.
I know, but I'm thinking, here's the thing. I'm thinking, could we have imposed our will more in the running game if we had taken some more deep shots? Do you know the longest pass?
I think so. But what happened is, I think the fact that Justin Tucker missed those field goals dictated the game differently. So I think if they score and now we forced to score touchdowns, I think the game plan is different. The play call is different. Taking care of the ball is different. Ravens is playing different. Like, everything is different at that point. So I think that the game dictated how the Eagles played it. We were shitty in the third quarter because we went 3-and-out. They got the ball right back, and they ran a whole nother long-ass drive because of the defense, and they missed the field goal again.
No, that's a very solid point. It's a great point, because we know that Hurts never got into a rhythm, never had a pass longer than 17 yards.
And sometimes your best defense is keeping their offense off the field.
Right. And
but our defense kept their defense, our offense on the field, because the drive was so long because they couldn't get anywhere.
Right.
But we have to be more efficient when we have the ball so that we stay on the field and keep the defense off the field.
It also just concerned me. The only other wide receiver to catch a pass was Dotson, and it was 1 pass for 7 yards.
Yep. And then AJ was killing him.
But I just you got to get these guys involved, because I shudder to think we could have scored 90 points if we got everybody involved, make some longer passes. Maybe that opens up the game even more.
But you know what? This is the other thing that I like too.
Go ahead.
Don't show everything.
I like that.
Make them think we one-dimensional. They're like, oh man, well, this is the only way they win, and they only do this, they only do that. Oh yeah? Woo! Bam! Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think so? You know what I mean?
It's like, what do you call it? Is the extended preseason?
Yeah, don't show them everything. You know what I mean? Like, we get to the playoffs, they're like, wait a minute, when did they start doing this? You know what I mean? It's like Jaden's gonna have a 300 game somewhere. You just don't know when it's gonna happen.
Yeah. But again, when you have an offensive line like this, because Johnson, Mailata, they're just givens, right? And Becton is just unbelievable. He's just getting better every week. And his blocking, his run blocking, he's throwing people out of the gym, throwing them.
Yeah.
And Dickerson still remains one of the best. And I think Cam Jurgens has really become better over this 8-game win streak.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to say that he has become one of the better of all the people who've been improving. He might be at the top.
10,000 hours.
We didn't because we didn't have to if the Ravens actually made a game. Yeah, James, that's what Jay was saying. I have to agree.
Yeah.
Slow reveal. Ooh, slow reveal. Oh, look at Lisa. Slow reveal. Are we talking about football still, Lisa? Or is there something else that we got to talk about? Because we might have to end this podcast early if that's the case. By the way, Saquon is just the second player in NFL history to rush for 1,475 yards, 10 plus TDs, averaging 6 yards a carry through 12 games. He's the second person ever to do that. You want to guess the other one?
Running back?
Yep.
I don't know.
My man, Jim Brown.
Wow.
That's how
crazy.
far back that is going. That's incredible.
Crazy. That's crazy.
All right. So why don't you do this? Why don't you jump out and come back in again, and we'll do our 4 for 4.
Oh, am I freezing again?
Yep.
All right.
So Eagles, and we're going to do a little bit more, but here's the biggest thing I want to get out there. Some of you guys are still out there. Can the Eagles run the table? That's my question to you. Do you think the Eagles can actually just run right through this? And if they do, I mean, James, you, of course, I want him to break Dickerson's record against the Giants so bad. And that's the thing, James. That's a great thing to think about. But the likelihood of any starters playing in Week 18, unless the number 1 seed is on the line, is very remote. And there's no way. And you saw how Barkley could have run for his. James just asked, do you think, you want to see Barkley break Dickerson's record in Week 18? But I guarantee you, Jay, if we are the number 1 seed and it's locked in, he ain't playing, because you saw what Barkley did in the Giants game. He's like, listen, you're 20 yards from your record. He's like, no, let the other guys eat. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
That's for me.
He's got to break it in Week 16 or 17.
Lisa's getting saucy on us, Jay. I'm getting a little hot in here. Woohoo! I gotta do the Eagles thing, man. I gotta cool myself down.
Oh man, that's funny.
I threw this out to everybody too. Before we get another thing, do you think the Eagles will run the table?
Yeah, I think they can. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if there's any slip up, it'll be the Pittsburgh game if there's a slip up, but I don't see that happening. And I see us maybe losing the last game if they sit everybody.
Yeah, they probably will. Yep. And the Giants have nothing to play for either, but they want to try.
But that's only if we solidify the number 1 seed. We would play if we don't solidify the number 1 seed.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to cure their first quarter struggles against the Panthers?
At this point, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't want them scoring a whole bunch of points in the first quarter if it means we're going to win the game. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, whatever. I think they can, but I think if the game just goes that way, it just goes that way. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you got to – I'm pretty sure somebody's going to figure out one day or another that in the fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes is going to have a big run over 15 yards. So at some point, somebody's got to realize, stop this dude. And with us, it's like, yeah, they're going to look bad at the beginning, so get as many points as you can because they're going to kick our ass in the second part, but starting from the second quarter on.
Well, here's the thing, James. The first tiebreaker is always head-to-head, but Eagles don't play the Lions, so it then goes to divisional record. And if that's the same, it goes to conference record. If that's the same, it's a coin flip. So right now, the Eagles, it'd be very wise for them that if their only loss the rest of the year is the Steelers, I'm okay with that.
It has to be an AFC team. So we've lost to 2 NFC teams, which is not good. That's 2 conference teams. So and
Atlanta and the Bucks. So
Atlanta and the Bucks, and then Atlanta also beat the Lions. So we would need the Lions. We root for Green Bay
this Thursday.
We root
big time. We got to have that.
Green Bay this Thursday, and we root for Minnesota.
Oh, all right. We'll get back to Sirianni, but let's get to our 4 points because we're closing in out on the hour here. So let's get to Jay's first 4 points. There you go.
Yeah. So my first one is just the impress. Oh, is that one mine?
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So teams fear Jalen, and when I say teams fear Jalen, I'm talking about Jalen Carter and Saquon. So when they come up to play us, they have the game plan. And the first fear is, how do we stop Jalen Carter? That's the first game plan. It's on the quarterback's mind. It's on the offensive line's mind. It's on the receiver's mind. I got to get this route run fast because we got 98 on the team. He's coming for me. They fear this dude. And it's great to have that type of player on your team because it's no different when we go play Pittsburgh. Everybody's going to have to watch out for TJ Watt. Like, everybody knows who to watch out for. We got Lane Johnson. We don't have that problem. We like, so who? Yeah. It's like it does not matter. It's like I said, it does not matter. But the fact that we have him is great. And on the offensive side, teams fear Saquon.
Yeah.
Then role number 1, stop Saquon Barkley. They're not even talking about AJ and Devontae or Jalen Hurts for that matter. Right. And it's great to have that thing.
Okay, it's good. I like that one. Don't disagree. And it's nice to have somebody they have to scheme for. That's awesome. We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So my first one is I have 2 negatives and 2 positives on my 4 points. First one's a negative, the penalties. Can't have them. Now, were some of them kind of BS over the past couple of games? Maybe, but we're still getting penalties. And you know what? You don't get penalties called if you're not really making that egregious stuff. So some ticky-tack stuff, but 8 penalties, 55 yards, can't have it.
Especially on third down.
Yep. And I think 3 or 4 penalties, that's going to happen a game. I'm okay with that. When you get up to 8 over 5, no good.
Yeah.
And some of them are really costly too. Some of them are really costly, giving them first downs. And there was probably another 3 or 4, Jay, that they had just actually declined.
Yeah.
So there was over 10 penalties they had, and someone just declined. So can't have it. Just so you know, got to clean that up this week. All right. Number 2 for Jay.
Number 2 for me really is just next. Well, that's the same thing. So that was the same thing, James. My bad. So I was just talking about, so people fear Jalen Carter and Saquon Barkley. So that was really my first point.
Yeah.
That was really my first point. There you go. That's yours.
That's yours, the defensive dominance. That's your number 3.
Yeah, so my number 2, my actual number 2, and we'll go to number 3 in a minute. But my actual number 2 was Next Man Up. So Next Man Up was really my number 2. And that basically what Next Man Up really was, and that's my fault because I didn't number them. I was just typing. But my Next Man Up basically is the fact that Brandon Graham is out. The fact that you have these injuries in the defense, and then Blankenship goes out in the middle of the game, and you don't lose a step. It's like, yo, we got depth, and we got people that are capable of handling that position. There's no panic when people are like, oh, my God, he hurt. Oh, my God, what are we going to do? Slade been out all year. And every time he get out the game, you go, all right, well, they got somebody back there. You know what I mean? It's never like, oh, my God, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? And it's so funny because we haven't been that way in a long time. So I'm just happy that we actually have this Next Man Up. And we have people that actually can step in and do what they got to do. And you can't replace Devontae. You can't. But they're serviceable.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And they've been great. I mean, like Tristan McCullum is a great example. Next man up, makes a play.
Yep. 100%.
My number 2 was defensive line. They had 13 pressures. That was the most since week 3.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. And that was against New Orleans, which they had a great defensive line game. And the Eagles tackled so well. So defensive line, between their tackling and their pressures, huge difference. Now, even though it's great to have Q out there, but all those pressures makes it real difficult for that quarterback to find out, to go through the progressions. It's like, I got 1, maybe 2, and that's it. I got to dump this.
Yep.
Loved it. All right.
Yeah, my number 3 was the defensive dominance. So when I go into and I talk about defensive dominance, what we talk about on text message all the time. Like you ask me. Let me give y'all a true story. Stop
texting me. That's your first thing you say.
Let me give y'all a true story. Like, so Corey goes up to me 9-0. He comes to me with this little smug little emoji talking about still confident. And I say, yup, and stop fucking texting me. Right? So let me explain.
That didn't stop me, by the way, just so you know. That never stops me.
He's like a pestering little brother, man. That's a pain in the ass. But let me say something to you. I don't get nervous about this team at all until teams can score 24 points on us.
Yeah,
if it looks like a team is going to get 24 points on us, then I start being like, oh, God, let me see what's going on. I don't worry about anything. I know that a team can they can get 14 points in the first quarter, and I'll be like, they probably get 3 more for the rest of the game. I'm telling you, Vic Fangio, we talked about it earlier with the mid-game, in-game adjustments. Things that happen and how they can fix things. You got players on the team that's gathering people together like, yo, we not playing like us. Let's get this done. You got a dude up front that can get mad as hell and knock the whole offensive line down if he wanted to. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not worried about anything. You got to have a gunslinging animal out there to be able to beat this defense. I'm just saying.
I think you're right. And by the way, James, to answer your question, we talked about that earlier in the show with Jalen Carter getting a holding. Jay made a good point that I think the league is going to hand down at least 1 or 2, memorandums to these refs working the game. Yeah. And I need you to look at Jalen Carter, and if he's getting held, you got to call it. So we might got to call it.
Yep.
But I don't think, James, that the Eagles aren't submitting that to the league, because they do it all. Teams do this all the time throughout the league, which I've read about before. Is that anytime they think there's an egregious amount of something happening to one of their players, they submit that to the league. The league looks at it. The league then puts it down to the refs, so everybody's aware of that stuff. So I think you'll see a difference with Jalen Carter going forward.
Yep.
All right, my number 3 is the slow starts, my other negative.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing was there was a 3rd and 7 call, right? And they had a max protect, and they even had a spy. So if they have max protect, there's a spy out there, and then Hurts still took a sack.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying at that point, these slow starts, there's got to be a better play, either whether it's Hurts' fault or Kellen Moore's fault, but there's got to be a better play early on that gets him into a little bit of a rhythm. I don't care if it's a dig and dunk. It doesn't have to be all 80 yarders.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some plays that gets him a little bit in the rhythm. So it gets him going. That I'm with you. Even if they don't score points, as long as there's a little rhythm, maybe they get to the 40 or 30 and they punt, whatever. Okay. But there's a rhythm. There's a building momentum. Like, okay, we got it. We can see what we can do. All that kind of stuff. That's what I want to see a little bit more of.
Yep.
All right. Number 4 for you.
Number 4 for me is Harbaugh versus Sirianni. Now, here's the thing.
All right.
Harold Harbaugh went away from what his team is. He tried to make, and they've done this in the playoffs for the last 3 years. He wants to make Lamar Jackson a passer. He wants to make him, I want you to get 300 yards this game. When your strength is running the ball. Yep. Sirianni's figured that out. It was like, hey, you know what? Our money's in running the ball. We learned last year we cannot win without running the ball. We've learned it so much that we run the ball 2 times more than we pass now, which was the total opposite last year. You understand what I'm saying? And
it was like 70-30 last year.
You see what got us last year. We get in the big-time game against the Baltimore Ravens, and we stick to the bread and butter. Run the ball. But this is the number 1 run defense. We don't give a damn. Run the ball. Run the ball. Jalen only passed for 19 times. Run the ball.
You know what's crazy last year? How many times was it like 3rd and 2 or early in the game and Swift is on the sidelines? He's not even in the game. Like, where is Swift? Like, dude, get the guy in the game.
I give you one better. How many times you start a game?
Right.
You passing the first down. Man. What are you doing? Like, here we go.
Don't even start me. Oh, it's bad memories. All right, my 4th and final one is Sirianni. And here's my thing with Sirianni.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I'll be the first to say it. Maybe he's not the best in the league. You know, he's probably not in the top echelon as the player scripted. I think so, James. By the way, I really think so.
Yeah.
I don't know I know they're scripted and I think Kellen's a very bright guy. I think they're scripting it right, but for whatever reason,
there's no execution.
I mean, whether it's Hurts' fault, whether it's maybe the wide receivers aren't getting open, but you got to build in something different to get him in a better rhythm. I don't even care if it's a screen pass, just something with a little throw and getting a rhythm. So I agree, James. There's something in that script. They got to change it up a little bit. But even though Sirianni is probably not in the top 5 coaches, I think he's in the top 10. But maybe that's not what he is anyway. You know, he really is the CEO. And so you have guys that are offensive geniuses, defensive geniuses, or head coaches, and they do all this stuff. It's just not him, right? This is the role that Sirianni was built for. You know, this franchise is a unique setup, and Sirianni seems to be the right fit for what he does, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, he's not going to be a genius coach. He may not be very respected by Hurts, but even Hurts is saying, I've seen a difference. You see the actual words. It's like, I've seen a difference in him since the bye week.
Right.
And that's all that matters. If he knows how to adjust this and keep this team motivated. Remember, he said I don't know if you saw in the locker room, but he's like, who's ready to go to work Monday? And the whole team was in an uproar, like, let's go.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, that shows you that they are buying into the coach, whether they totally respect him or not. They're like, that's the coach. We like him. We got our own offensive coordinators and defensive, like we go. But I love that they're like, we're okay with who he is.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do game balls.
Yep. So
what do you got for game ball?
Yeah, my game ball goes to, again, Vic Fangio. He's that dude, man. He is that dude. And as long as he's doing what he's doing and we're not giving up 24 points a game, we good, dude.
All right. I had to mix this up because we got to give this guy some love. I talk him all the week. You don't talk about him.
Nah.
Here's my game ball. Brandon Mann.
Yeah, I feel you.
Dude, this is the game changer.
Yeah.
First of all, 51-yard average.
Yeah.
He had a 58 long.
Yeah.
And 5 of 6 of his punts were in the 20. Come on, that's a day right there. That is a day.
Yeah.
And he also had 2 punts within the 5-yard line. I mean, within the 5-yard line. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
And the one of which landed the Baltimore's 1-yard line. And that was the one there. They only gained about 6 yards. They had a punt, and we went right down and scored.
Yeah.
Huge turnaround right there.
So it's going to be something we're going to be watching from here on out now. Like, yo, punt this ball, pit them back, and let's see the defense work. Let's see
exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think Sirianni, see, that's why I'm telling you, Sirianni has learned. He's like, if we pin them deep, at worst, the defense will get them out to like the 30-yard line, and that's it. And then they're going to punt. We're still going to get it back at the 30-ish, and we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to give Sidney Brown and Keely Ringo really playing well as the gunners on either side, playing really well on that. Totally. So, and the Ravens at that point were up 9-0, by the way. So when you get that 58-yarder on the 1-yard line, they needed 5 yards. Boom, we went, and Eagles got the short field, went right down and scored a touchdown. Beautiful stuff.
Yep.
All right, let's do our drama queens, man. And we got some good ones this week.
Yeah, my drama queen is George Pickens again, man.
Woo! What is wrong with this kid?
I don't know, man. I think it's something in the air. The receivers in Pittsburgh just go crazy. Dude gets a touchdown, makes a gun symbol in the end zone, and the ref sees it. It was like, all right, penalty, man, unsportsmanlike. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. You already know that's a rule. Like, what are you doing?
And he's like, oh no, I didn't do that. And like, it's clearly shown on the replay. You are like,
come on, dog. Yeah, exactly. Just an idiot.
Sirianni is now versus September so much this year. Yeah. I think Sirianni nowadays, he's like, I don't need to overthink this. And I think he's telling me what you're telling, Jay. It's like, oh, we just run the ball because we're really good at it. Okay, I can do that.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
My drama queen again, Aaron Rodgers. I had him earlier this year, but I don't know if everybody saw this out there, but they asked Rodgers, like, hey, man, things are mucky. I mean, what's going on? You know, you threw that pick and this and that. And he goes, his answer was, there's 11 guys on the field. Wow, really? You're not going to own any of this?
I hate that guy, man.
I mean, wow, you are just totally throwing everybody under the bus. Now, when they ask, hey, man, what a great throw you had to this person, that means like, yeah, that was, it's great, but he totally owns the good and completely disowns the bad.
Yeah.
And that's a kind you cannot have as a quarterback. You cannot have that as a leader.
Type A narcissist, man.
Oh, my God. He's got to go.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
Yeah, I'll be glad when he's gone, man.
That is a big time.
I don't want him to get a TV deal or nothing. I just want him gone.
There are 11 guys on the field. Yeah. And you're one of them who sucks.
Right.
You stink.
Right.
Own it. Just own it.
Right.
But loses mine in Guantanamo Bay in week 15. He might, man. He might, James. I totally on that, man. All right. And by the way, we're going to skip over grades because I think the grades were in the Tuesday Fest. But by the way, Aaron Rodgers, he made a block on one of these plays before this whole shitload went down. You know who he blocked?
Who?
Josh Jobe.
That's funny.
Where's my boy Lloyd, man? Lloyd is going to be like, dude, I hate Josh Jobe. That guy sucks. Where's Lloyd,
funny.
Man?
That's funny.
All right, let's get to our top 5 and close this thing out. But I got some tats to throw at you. So let's go to the top 5. Number 5 for you.
Number 5 for me is Green Bay, the Green Bay Packers.
All right. Number 5 for me.
Yep.
Go ahead. Minnesota.
Nice.
All right. So number 4 for you.
Kansas City.
All right. Number 4, Kansas City for me.
All right. Yeah. When we go down to 4, it makes sense, right?
But now we're going to disagree.
Yeah, we're going to disagree like a lot here.
All right. Number 3 for you.
Number 3 for me is Detroit.
Okay, Detroit. Number 3.
That game against Chicago, they were supposed to lose. That coach lost that game. They were going to beat Detroit.
By the way, I was going to text you. The minute he said, "Oh, it was the right thing to do by not taking that timeout," I fire him right there, right there.
In Philly, they would have been like, "Nah, cuz you gone." They would, as soon as he said that was the right thing to do, they'd be like, "So how was your whole term here in Philly? Like, how do you feel? How you feel was a good? Did you have a good time while you were here?" He's like,
dude, I wouldn't even let that guy on the plane. I'd be like, "Dude, you're getting a bus fare to go home. You're getting bus fare. You ain't going on the plane."
The reporter would have been ripping a piece of paper like, "What you ripping?" He's like, "Oh, that's your contract. You done, bro." Like, where'd you get that from? Jeffrey Lurie's right over here.
Yeah, dude, it's just like it's a shredder right there, dude. Done. You're just done.
Exactly.
Own that. You know you sucked. Own it.
Yeah, Detroit is number 3 for me, man.
I probably should have considered that more likely, but I still have Eagles at 3, even though they won 8. Let's go. All right, number 2 for you.
Buffalo.
Oh, we agree. Aberfluss got a check. He did, James. Dude, they're all like, thank you very much. By the way, you'll be an assistant for us next week. Buffalo, number 2 for me, who won
Yeah.
6 in a row.
Yeah.
And number 1 for you.
Eagles. Number 1 team, baby. NFL sweetheart. Everybody picking us to go to the Super Bowl, baby. It's over. It's a wrap.
Oh, it's a wrap.
We the best. We the best,
All right.
baby.
I got the Lions still at 1 because they've won 9 in a row. They still got his thing, but they got some defensive injuries.
Thursday night, baby.
It'll be real interesting to see what happens with Green Bay on Thursday. I'll be watching that game like laser focused. All right. ESPN ranks the Eagles 4. They actually dropped Eagles down a notch, which I don't understand that one. But they moved the Eagles down because they moved a couple people up, but they're now at 4, and NFL still has them at 3. So it always been 3 before. My honorable mentions, by the way, Green Bay, Steelers, Chargers, Seahawks, Ravens. Real fast, the stats. Eagles offense is 4th overall. They were 3rd. They dropped down to 4th after the Ravens game.
Mm-hmm.
They were 25th in passing. They're now 28th.
Okay.
Whoops. They're 5th worst in the league in passing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 in rushing still. And they're still 7th in scoring at 26 a game. On the defensive side, they're still 1st overall to the Titans, which is great. They're still 3rd in passing. Titans and Jets are above them. They're still 7th in rushing, but they did move up in scoring. They went from 6 to 4 in scoring at 18 points per game. Eagles, number 1. Are you going to give them? Come on, James. I got to keep it real, man. I'm a true fan.
Keeping it real. You're keeping it real dumb, though. That's like
Bye, Lisa. We'll see you soon. All right, last but not least, let's do a quick review of the Panthers, and we'll get the hell out of here. By the way, does anybody get the trivia question? By the way, the trivia question was, only 2 homegrown undrafted position players have made a Pro Bowl for the Eagles since 1955. Who are they? Doesn't people want merchandise? Come on, people. All right, real fast. Give me your preview of the Panthers.
I think it's a very winnable game, but I also think that if you allow the Panthers to hang around, they can beat you. And they've shown that with the last 2 weeks of games that they had. They stuck around for the Bucks, stuck around for the Kansas City. And I think that you got to put them away early and step on their neck. And that's the only way you're going to beat them.
You know, I think actually it's weird. We might disagree a little bit. I think the last 2 games where they hung around and they really put some effort for it totally drove the stake into their hearts. And I think they're like, all right, we're done. We can't even beat the Chiefs when we should have beat them. We can't beat these other teams.
This is why I disagree. And the reason why I disagree is because I live here in Charlotte. So
yeah,
everybody knows. They want to prove to people that they are a good team. Like they just feel like.
You think they still got heart?
Yeah, they definitely. That's not a. See, their whole mantra down here is keep pounding. Like they're not going to allow. They don't care anything about the record now. They're here to ruin people's seasons, but they also want to show that they're capable of doing something. So, like that Kansas City game, like that wasn't like, oh, we still got a chance to be in the playoffs. They're like, nah, we going to show y'all we can compete with these dudes. So, like, everybody's behind them, and it's like really, they're really standing behind Bryce Young at this point. Like, he's gotten a bad.
I think you have to. You had so much invested in him.
But like, he's trying to show. They're trying to show people like. They got rid of Deontay Johnson. Like they got rid of one of their receivers and gave him the Ravens, and he still didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I'm like this: if we get on them early, the game will be over quick.
Yeah, I agree.
But if it's halftime and it's still like 17-14, something like that, dude, you got a dogfight in your hands.
Okay. All right, I'll trust you because you live down there. But
yeah,
I know they got a great running back. The guy's in the top, I think 5 or 6 running backs in the entire NFL.
Chuba Hubbard. Yeah,
he's playing real well. So he's something that's concerned about. I still think with Bryce Young, I just don't, believe it or not, I'm actually confident, which is probably bad news.
I don't see Bryce doing anything with this defense.
Right, neither do I, because I think he's gotten better, but he's still not there yet. He still needs another year. I think you stick with the kid.
I think he throws in some windows he ain't got no business throwing to this week.
Because I think if the Eagles, right, like you were saying, if Eagles can get up a little bit, they're going to have to start throwing a little bit. And Bryce, I don't think is there yet in this year to really say like, oh, we can put him for 300 yards. So as long as we put them in a situation where he's got to throw a lot and get away from that running back, we should be totally fine. And that to me.
Yeah, it could be a 5-sack game.
I want to get Barkley in there, but I would love to see them throw a little bit more in the first and second quarters, build up a lead on throwing, and then just run Barkley in the second half and then even sit him in the fourth.
Yeah, we'll see.
So what's your prediction for the real fast? And we'll wrap this up for Eagles Panthers. What's your prediction?
Oh, Eagles 28, Panthers 10.
Wait, what?
Panthers 10.
And Eagles what?
28.
Okay. I have 30-14.
Okay.
I think it's 30-14. I think they get 2 touchdowns because I think that's and one again, another one's gonna be annoying, like late.
Yeah.
But I really see in us we're gonna score 4 touchdowns and a safety.
Nice.
A weird safety thing, and that's what it is. And that's it. We don't even use Jake Elliott. It's gonna be awesome. And I think we're good.
Nice.
All right, we didn't do Sixers, Flyers, Phillies. There's not a lot to talk about. Although, by the way, Michkov has the most points among NHL rookies. Fun fact: Flyers have never had a Rookie of the Year ever.
All right, maybe.
So I like to see Michkov do it this year. That would be great.
Yeah.
And if you get the trivia question, Quignon pick number 1, calling it now. James here, man. If you know this answer, you've been sticking with us all the time. I'll get you out a T-shirt, a sweatshirt, whatever you want. 2 homegrown undrafted position players, the Eagles, have made the Pro Bowl since 1955. Who are those 2 players? Hit us up in the comments. Let us know, and we'll look at them. All right. All right. That is it for this. We may be on hiatus the next 2 weeks, folks. We're excited to do this. I'm actually headed out of town for a little bit, and I will not be here. So we might just take a little 2-week break, but we will be back on Christmas Eve at noon at the very least. And we're going to wrap up that Washington game as well as the other games just to do a quick wrap up. We're going to do the Washington game, which I think is going to be the best game of the next 3 games. And we can talk about that heading into the last 2 weeks of the season. I think we'll be talking about some crazy stuff, Jay.
Nice stuff, man.
All right. So as always, I'm Corey Alexander, and this is
J-Bliss.
And you've been watching the 4for4 podcast here on the Broad Street Misery Index, as we're always sponsored by Cindy Webster Connects. And you can follow us at Broad Street Misery and 4for4 podcast on things like Apple Tunes and Spotify. But you can follow us at Broad Street Misery on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We want to see you guys there at all of them. All right. We love you guys. God bless. And we will see you at the very least in 2 weeks. Peace.
Peace.